Well, welcome back to the Coach's Kitchen, everyone, where we have real conversations about growth in business, in mindset, and in the parts of our lives that don't always make it to LinkedIn. This is where breakthrough is always on the burner. I'm your host, Leslie Nicole, life coach, motivational speaker, and your favorite soul chef. This is where ambitious women like you come to unpack what's simmering beneath the surface, from purpose to power moves, healing to high stakes leadership, because this is not fast food healing. It's the slow, sacred work that sticks. Y'all ready to get cooking? Now, today, I am joined by the infamous Eve Keller. Eve, where are you? Hello.
Thanks for
Thank you.
having me, Leslie.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining me. I got to tell the people about you though, because like when I read your bio, I was like, what in the world? She is an entrepreneur, community builder, leadership development trainer, and advocate, visionary, bringing the Sports Bra Indy to life right here in Indianapolis, a realtor, a speaker. Like, what don't you do? But this conversation is more about than a restaurant or a sports bra. We're talking about what it means to create spaces where women are seen, they're celebrated, they belong. We're talking about visibility, equity, community, and what Eve calls delusional audacity. That willingness to believe in something before everyone else can see it. So, Eve, welcome to the Coach's Kitchen. I am so glad that you are here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm just so excited that you invited me, and I just feel honored. You have such a great energy, and I
Thank
loved hearing you
you.
speak at the Women in Business retreat with the Indie Chamber, and just excited to connect with you.
Well, me too. Like I said, when we had dinner that night, I was just like, oh my gosh, I have got to have her on the Coach's Kitchen.
I love it. I was so honored to be on the panel with those amazing people. I kind of felt like during the Women in Business retreat, like one of these things doesn't belong, right? Because we had Pacer
Oh.
Sports and Entertainment and Penske and Indiana Sports Corps, and then Eve Keller with the Sports Bra.
And you belong right where you were supposed to be, right alongside your colleagues.
Yeah, we talked about the business of women in sports, and we're
Yeah,
going to get into a little bit of that today too.
absolutely. It was a powerful, powerful conversation. But like, when do you sleep, Eve? Like, when do you sleep?
People ask me that all the time. I sleep great. I'm telling you, that magnesium glycinate puts me out.
So you take the magnesium. So I need to figure out if I'm gonna like implement that into the ashwagandha, and like I also take sleepy time tea. And
Yeah, I
so,
love
but I've been
sleepy
hearing
time
about
tea
this.
too.
I've been hearing about this magnesium.
Yeah.
But well, let's go ahead and get started. So for those who may not have heard about the sports bra, and this is their first time hearing about the sports bra, tell us what it is and why Indianapolis needs it in our city.
Oh, two great questions, right? So the sports bra is still emerging here in the Midwest as a new concept, but the sports bra has been in Portland, Oregon for the last 4 years. They just
Mm.
celebrated their fourth anniversary. So the sports bra is a family-friendly restaurant and bar that will 100% play women's sports on television. And it's for everybody. We're really focusing on building community, having inclusion, making people feel like they belong to something. I think we want to see little girls come in and just be amazed that they're seeing themselves on the screen and what their
Mhm.
future could be.
Yeah, yeah. So
Indianapolis needs this because of the Caitlin Clark effect, but the fever has been hot for years. I hate that people are just getting on the fever, but I found out from Nielsen during the Women with Drive conference that 1/3 of women's sports fans were not women's sports fans 3 years ago. So there is
mm,
a Caitlin Clark effect, and you can deny that all you want, but the visibility is here on Indianapolis, and one of the pillars of the city is to become the women's sports capital by 2050. So myself and my investors were not going to let this opportunity pass Indianapolis, and it's clear that Indy is ready to have the sports bra here.
well, I can tell you, I've heard nothing but great things about the sports bra. Folks are excited about it. You mentioned that once when they heard about it, folks were in there in March, like, hey, knocking on your doors, we're ready.
Are you open? Right? We signed a
Are
lease
you
in
open?
March, and people are like, you got to be open, right? You're already open,
Mhm.
right? And I'm like, give me a little bit of time to get my stuff together.
And so, from my understanding, the sports bra is a sports bar for women's sports. Now, can men come to watch the sports, or is it just for
Or
women patrons?
no, family friendly restaurant, right? So this is all ages. It's not even 21 and up. This is all ages, all genders.
Ah,
I found out from Nielsen ratings that women's sports fans are split directly down the middle, 50 men, 50 women, 50%, right? So
hmm
men love women's sports. And I have a couple theories about why, but I think women's sports really, really, really are shining a light on the folks that go from high school all the way to pros. And they have this grit, they have this passion, and you can see it on the courts. And it's all sports, right? We don't want to just focus on the fever and basketball.
Right.
We actually have hockey draft coming up, watch party. We have the Gaelic Athletics Association coming up in a couple weeks. Their big invitational. We have Naptown Roller Derby. We're highlighting all of the women's sports across Indianapolis.
I'm here for it. I am here for it. So, was there ever a moment though when you thought this dream is bigger than me? And what kept you moving forward in the direction when other people may have been like, you know what, you're crazy?
That's a great question. And I think that would be maybe a better question for my wife because she's the one that's careful about things, right? And she's the one that was like, are we really signing this? Are we really buying this franchise? Because I think it happened really fast. We
hmm
started talking to the Sports Bra November 2024. And
Okay.
I could not tell anyone I was talking to them because this
hmm
was about the confidentiality of the franchise expansion and
Yeah.
protecting their brand. So for those 10 steps in this mutual discovery process, we were meeting every 2 weeks, right? Trying to figure out they were feeling me, I was feeling them, and then there was step 7, go to Portland. And so last April, I went to Portland. I couldn't tell anybody why I was going to Portland. And that was the first time I stepped foot in the sports bra. So for
Um,
me, this process has been all natural and it was just do the next right thing, do the next right thing. And I am still doing that. What's not mentioned in my bio is that I'm a professional project manager and I am just project managing this from start to finish. And
mhm,
the definition of a project is that it has a start and an end and I want
mhm,
to end with the grand opening. And we already have big plans for that. Whenever that happens, we're already making our plans. But Portland, and then I had to tell my wife I'm going to Portland, and she's like, "Why?" And I like, remember, we're buying this franchise. So it just happened really, really fast. And she was a little bit more cautious than I was. I knew this was going to be successful. I was not
mhm,
going to let anybody else take this from me
right.
and really knew that we needed to do this for our community, not just
Mhm,
for the women, but for women's sports, for Indianapolis. Indianapolis is going to have a sports and entertainment district downtown. I guarantee you, nobody is going to recognize downtown in 3 years. And you're going to be
mhm,
shocked with all the changes that are coming. We already have the Ritz Carlton and the Live Nation and the Fever Performance Center and the new
mhm,
mall coming. Like
mhm.
all of these changes to downtown, they are intentionally putting $71 billion into our downtown area. And we are right around the corner from everything cool that's coming.
I mean, but how incredible of an opportunity, like to be amongst the change. Really, it's a big shift in Indy. I mean, I grew up here, so I go downtown, I'm like, what is happening? Like it's like a totally different city. But the fact that we've like hosted Super Bowls and we yeah, we have Caitlin
All-Star
Clark
game,
and
right?
All-Star
I
Game.
had to
Yes.
purchase t-shirts in advance of the All-Star game and not tell anybody because I knew that was going to be my first pop-up was the WNBA All-Star downtown. And thankfully we
hmm
partnered with Sun King and sat outside with them and we actually donated to Marvella Foundation, which is dedicated to women in sports and
hmm
girls in leadership, right? So they're seeing a direct correlation
Yeah.
between leadership development and keeping girls in sports. And that is the biggest drive that I want to get onto.
hmm
And Sports Bra is just going to be a piece of building that community for these girls.
Yeah, yeah. So you often talk about delusional audacity. What does that mean to you? And how has that shown up in this journey with the girls that you're wanting to serve?
Yeah, delusional audacity is simply believing in something before there is evidence that it will work.
Mm,
It's every major change across history started with someone else's unrealistic idea, right?
hmm
And so I have been talking about doing a podcast for delusional audacity, specifically
hmm
around women in history, right? Like Amelia Earhart. Everyone told her that she couldn't fly a plane around the world,
hmm
right? And that was a huge deal. The woman that went over a barrel on the on Niagara Falls. There are moments in history that are marked by delusional audacity, specifically with women. I follow really closely Ann Lister, and if you don't know Ann Lister's story, I will bore you for 5 hours. But Ann Lister is from the UK, and she took life in her own hands. During that time in the 1860s, you could not go to school after 12 years old as a woman. And so she took it upon herself to learn things. She ended
Yeah.
up being a landowner and a coal miner and an estate planner. Like all these huge things. And so those are the type of the women that we need to continue to celebrate,
Yeah,
right? So
absolutely.
there's a whole bunch of people that I've met that have done this in the past and made sports cards for women in history, specifically around sports, and
hmm
they're going to do that again. So super excited to be connected to those people that are trying to highlight that and not
hmm
let those stories die.
Yeah, it's so interesting you use the word celebrated because I was just thinking about like what changes when women or girls are celebrated. They're invested in, they're prioritized, they're focused on. Like what does that do to us as women? I just love your take on that.
Yeah. I think it's more about the human nature that we
Mhm.
all want to be seen, heard, and
Mhm.
valued for
Yeah.
who we authentically are. So if
hmm
I'm looking for these girls that see themselves on television, that didn't know they were such a great basketball player or a hockey player,
hmm
but now they can go after that, right? They
hmm
can write their own story, like we were talking about, and be delusional. Forget what anybody else says. The
hmm
race is long, like Baz Luhrmann says, but in the end, it's only with yourself. So you
hmm
have to be able to write your own story, turn that page, and keep moving forward. The past is just the past, but you can create your future. And I think
hmm
that's what is so exciting about the Sports Bra. They're already
hmm
creating, what did she do this recently? A film festival. She hosted a film festival, the Sports Bra, Jenny Wynn and the
hmm
founders there at corporate. They also created a national presence for women and girls in sports day. So we were giving out awards for girls from middle school all the way up to the college level as folks that really showed up on and off the field. And so we were able to do that here in February and honor some of the folks that are moving up. I met a
hmm
young girl that is intentionally going after the NWSL, and she was leaving college, and that was the whole plan: go to the
hmm
professional league of soccer. And she was one of our awardees. And so
Yeah,
just changing the game, like you said, for these women in sports, and
yeah,
the sports bra being part of the forefront of that, of
yeah.
building that community and making sure that these women have visibility and they are seen for the strong people that they are.
I feel like you wrote the script. I feel like literally you're saying the words that I want you to say. We didn't talk about this beforehand, but so you've been a long time LGBTQ plus advocate and currently serve as co-president of USA Prides. How have those experiences even shaped the kind of spaces and communities you want to create, whether it be in the sports bra and or just in the Indianapolis and community, or honestly, it could be worldwide too.
I think I've always been a community builder and I've always been outgoing. I'm a military brat. I really don't have how most people consider a hometown. I was born in Hollywood, Florida, and have moved almost every 2 years. I moved here to Indianapolis in 2007 and tried to leave 3 times because I just was not matching with the closed
Mm-hmm.
mindedness that was here. And I found community and I found women doing the vagina monologues, right? I
Mhm.
was able to find my wife that was already doing that. She's an actor director. So we have a community with a theater community. We have the LGBTQ community. I was able to get into Indie Pride here in Indianapolis
Mhm.
with 2015, almost 10 years, more than 10 years ago, trying to open a community center. So I have always tried to build community everywhere I've gone. I realized during COVID that that's my values. It's
Mhm.
education, community, and service. And so
Yeah.
everything I do now revolves around those three values. I make sure that I educate when I'm doing real estate. I make sure I educate when I'm doing insurance, but I'm also using these overlapping communities to build my flow and build my network. And USA Prides was just a natural escalation of what I've done in the Pride movement with Indie
Mhm.
Pride and then moving on to Interpride. Interpride is the International Pride Association, and I was a regional director for them for 4 years.
Mhm.
And that's when USA Prides was created and immediately launched into that and pushed into leadership because of what I bring to the table and my project management and leadership development skills. So
Mhm.
none of that was anything I asked for. It was like, would you please do this? And of course, I find my life is always so much better when I say yes to everything.
Mhm.
So I have memorable moments when I say yes. So if I'm
Mhm.
invited somewhere, I barely know you or whatever, I will go. If I'm invited to speak, I will go. I know I'm going to have a great time and I'm going to meet some amazing people. Some of the friends I have today, I met by accident because I said
Mhm.
yes. And I
Mhm.
got on stage to do theater because I said yes. So I'm just
Oh.
building memories and having experiences. If you know anything about the Enneagram, I am definitely a number 7, and I want to just keep experiencing life. I love new foods, new places. I don't want to do anything twice. I just need to do it once and keep moving.
Well, if you want to go eat again, I'm down because I'm a
Oh,
food.
exactly. Exactly. I love having new food. So I'm
Dinner.
excited about the food the restaurant's going to have, right? So if anybody wants to look at the menu, it's the sportsbraofficial.com. And
Okay.
there is some amazing food on that menu. Jenny Wynn, the founder, is a chef. A lot of folks
Mhm.
don't realize that
I did
she's
not.
a chef. So everything that she's created and curated is on our menu. And she comes from a Vietnamese background, I believe, and she
Mhm.
has Asian wings, Asian ribs, that are just fall
Mm.
off the bone, baby back ribs. And I was just blown away with the food. When we went to Portland, we had to try all the food and the drinks, right? So she ordered a whole table of stuff and tuna melts and Philly cheesesteaks and the burger.
I
And
just need to hang out with you. Just let me be
it's
your
so
plus
great.
one for a second.
So great. And we are actually allowed to add to the menu 15%. So of course
Okay.
we're going to add some cultural favorites. I've already
Yep.
given them some suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
So we're very excited. My restaurant actually has a pizza oven and there's no pizza on the menu.
Ooh.
And I am a pizza snob, so I have my favorites around town. But I'm excited because we are connected to the Hampton Inn. We
Yeah.
have 180 hotel rooms around us. Why wouldn't we serve them some kind of breakfast pizza or fast
Absolutely.
breakfast Cali burrito or something? Like, let's make this work for everybody, right?
Yeah. Let's make it work. Yeah. If you're around a hotel, you got to have some pizza. Like
Exactly. We got to have
that's
some
what you eat
grab
in a
and go
hotel room.
stuff. Yeah.
So you call yourself a is it hyphenate woman?
Mhm.
And so, I mean, you just wear so many hats, and now it makes sense because you have this project manager certification hat, but you're an entrepreneur, leadership trainer, realtor, speaker. I mean, the list goes on. You're also a founder of an emerging youth initiative called More Natural Helpers, FEMA, reservists. I mean, there's just so many things. So I know I asked that question like, when do you sleep? But like for real, like you've worn so many hats.
I
So,
actually have worked on my time management skills, right?
uh-huh,
And my balance.
uh-huh.
And I have a pretty specific, super long affirmation that I do. But like this morning, right? So my wife and I go swimming at the Healthplex.
Mm-hmm.
So we got up at 6 o'clock. We go to the pool. I do lap swimming. She does the warm water
Mm-hmm.
aerobics or whatever. But that's part of the habits that you build. But I don't pick up my phone. I don't look at my phone. I don't get stressed out immediately. And on the days I'm not swimming, I have a gratitude journal and practices in the morning to make
Mhm.
sure that I am grounding myself first.
Mhm.
So stress management has been a big thing, especially with all of these hoops we have to jump through for the restaurant. You have to have stress management, time management. You've seen my calendar. I make people book on my calendar. Like
Mhm.
I block times for me. I block times for golf Friday morning. Like you've just got to have really good juggling skills and compartmentalize and get it done. I
Yeah.
love to-do lists. I love cranking it out. At night, I write down my accomplishments, and that helps me accomplish more the next day. So I
Mhm.
just my fight is with me and my whatever procrastination and whatever might distract me because
Mhm.
I have to put my phone away. Like I told you on the cruise, I did not touch my phone because I knew
Mhm.
that was going to take me out of the moments that I needed to have. So
Absolutely.
I think it's the discipline that you eventually build up. But I studied habits during COVID. I think a lot of us did a deep dive internally because we had less distractions. So I
Mhm.
did Power of Habits, I did Atomic Habits, I did that habit stacking. There's a great app called Fabulous that helped build morning, afternoon, and evening
Hmm.
habits.
I haven't
Um,
heard of that one.
Oh my gosh, it's built by like a university psychology department. It's amazing.
Oh,
And they baby step you through building your morning, afternoon, and evening habits. And so that was a really good place for me to kind of start. And then once I
okay.
figured it out, I'm like, okay, these are my pillars of my day. And a
Yep.
lot of people ask you, what's a perfect day look like? And you can't answer because you never wrote it
Mhm.
down. Right?
Mhm.
So, what is
Mhm.
your perfect day? How would that look
Mhm.
for you? Mine would have these three pillars. I would be able
Mhm.
to have time for myself, time to do my work, time to Pomodoro my tasks. Like I set a timer and I get my stuff done. So I think it's that type of dedication that you have to have when you're hustling like this so that everybody feels heard and seen in whatever I'm doing. When I
Yeah.
am having a real estate meeting, I am focused on that client. I'm not talking about anything else. I'm not
Mhm.
sharing with them about the sports bra. I'm not wasting their time. We're talking about the house, right? Are we buying,
Mhm.
selling? Where are we going? When are we doing it? Right? So
Mhm.
I think that's what I've learned is it's time
Mhm.
management, stress management. That is the number one and two things that I have to do constantly.
I appreciate those nuggets. And yes, starting your morning in your like with yourself, I think is just so important. So like for me, I have my quiet time where I'm reading my devotional, I work out. Sometimes I just sit there, but don't tell anybody. But yeah, I just sit. Like sometimes I just have to like listen to the peace and quiet. So it's just so important to just really just be able to center yourself because the
Yeah,
day we never know what's going to happen. We can have plans, but then
right.
there's other things that just may derail us, and there may be some
Right.
detours along the way.
Well, and
So,
before that, before the habits deep dive, because I'm a
mhm,
lifelong learner, I did a
mhm,
happiness deep dive, right? And so
mm,
following Sean Aker and his guide of happiness and the orange frog, if you ever want to look that up. But he did happiness psychology and actually does training and leadership development now with some of that. But he has
mhm,
5 things in the morning that you can do within 23 minutes so that you are started
mm,
off right. And one of those is reaching out to others. I think a lot of us, we have a loneliness epidemic right now.
mhm,
And I think you got to check on your funny friends, check on your quiet friends, check on those
mhm,
folks you haven't heard from in a while.
mhm.
We've got to every morning check on
Yeah,
somebody and just
yeah.
say hi or thinking about you, and that's one of the 5 steps. Because I
Mhm.
think when I get lonely, I will reach out to 20, 25 people. I am not lonely
You're not
anymore.
lonely anymore.
So you can't stay in that spot. I always tell people rock bottom is the trampoline. Like, don't
Yeah,
stay there.
yeah,
Bounce back.
yeah. That's good. That's good. I like that. Rock bottom is the I like that. So, because you do wear these hats, but you're able to just compartmentalize and you've managed them well. How would you say those experiences and the experiences over your life have prepared you for like this particular season with the sports bra?
I think the resilience, right? The
Hmm.
moving constantly, the making new friends. I remember
Mm.
going to college. I went to college in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I remember like the first week, every day I passed someone, I was like, "Hey, I'm Eve. I'm your friend. You're my friend." Something like that, right? And so
I like I said.
instantly became memorable to people. And so that's one thing that took me into a lot of networking spaces. And I've
Mhm.
done sales for leadership development, and you have to
Mhm.
get in people's face and be memorable and have
Mhm.
your sales pitch down pat. So as I get into this new network of women in sports, I have
Mhm.
met so many people by just going and introducing myself and being
Mhm.
memorable with my delusional audacity or whatever it is, but also really listening to them and investing
Mhm.
in their story. I think that mutual kind of sharing has come throughout my life, right?
Yeah.
I understand human kindness at the basic level is make
Mhm.
sure people feel seen and heard and
Mhm.
listen to their story. You meet
Mhm.
some people and they will talk your ear off. That's okay.
Mhm.
Maybe they needed that day, right?
Mhm.
Maybe it doesn't have to be all about you. I think I
Mhm.
learned communication is like a tennis match. You got to give and take a little bit. I
Mhm.
learned a lot about questioning people. So when you question, you're a better listener. And
Mhm.
as I was moving around, I had to learn about these people pretty quickly and not necessarily put them in a box of what can they do for me, but how can I support them and whatever their dreams are next. And
Right.
I think that is the kind of the giver, right? The giver kind of sales story that is out there. But every time I meet with someone, I'm always asking, how can I support you in your next steps? And they were meeting me because of the sports bra, probably, but I don't want it to just be about me. I want it to be about them and seeing each other as humans without any labels, without any masks, without inauthenticity, right? And this need to get something from each other. I don't need
Mhm.
anything from you. I'm just so happy that you're alive and that you're talking to me, you know?
Yeah. And I feel like everything that you're saying explains why community is such a central theme in your life. Like I feel like you just embody community. I look at the quote unquote roles and the titles, and titles are titles, but underneath the titles is like what you're truly passionate about. And it makes sense. I'm like, okay, realtor, yeah, but you're creating a home for someone. FEMA. I want to get into FEMA. Can we go there for a second? Yeah, like
It was an
how
interesting story right now because of the politics. So I don't know if you want to go down there, but
oh no. Well, I was just gonna say, how has that experience changed the way you approach leadership
well, I
or
think FEMA
adversity?
is community and service. I come from a
Yeah.
military family. I
Yeah.
felt like everybody in my family had done some type of
Mm-hmm.
federal service, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I really wanted to see what that could look like for me. And I
Mm-hmm.
like that it goes into communities that are hurting and that are damaged.
Mm-hmm.
And the last two deployments I had were tornado tracks. And so
Mm-hmm.
seeing these houses completely obliterated and
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out how do we help you, and also
Mm-hmm.
seeing the disparagement between insurance companies that are right on top of fixing that roof and insurance companies that are still making them wait 2 months
Mm-hmm.
later.
Yeah.
So I think it's really given me a larger lens of where some systems are really broken and where
Mm-hmm.
privilege and power is really playing a part in just even disaster relief situations.
Mm. If you are just, I mean, I keep, every time you say something, I'm just like, oh, like, aha, aha, aha. You're just so passionate about like safe spaces, opportunity rich environments, community. Like, community just continues to just come up in my mind. Leadership. I mean, yeah, yeah.
Well, so many
So,
people want me to get into politics, and I just don't think that there's much change that I
mm,
can do that
mhm,
I can support others that are already doing it, right?
mhm,
I think
mhm,
after COVID, there were several pockets of people that wanted to recreate nonprofits. And I am like,
mhm,
absolutely not. There is a nonprofit that does that already. Why don't you put your money and your time and your talents over
mhm,
there and support
mhm,
them because they are really, really hurting right now?
mhm,
I did an interview with CBS this morning about Pride sponsorships and the declination there and
mhm,
how prides are shifting, and some are doing much better than others
mhm,
with this, DEI being eliminated at some point,
mhm,
and
mhm,
some customers that have federal contracts that are unable to give money to Pride because of the
mhm,
anti-DEI. And
mhm,
so just seeing the difference in the pivots that people make in those type of situations
Yeah.
where it's more about labels than it is about the humans. And
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a great play that was just finished here in town that was written by a friend of mine, and it was literally a gentleman. It's called Arlington, or our Forgotten Hero. It
Mm-hmm.
was about the gentleman that saved Gerald Ford's life
Wow.
during one of his assassinations. I think his name was Bob Sipple, but I'm probably wrecking that. But it was an amazing story of history that needed to be told, and it was
Mm-hmm.
perfect for Pride Month because, come to find out, that gentleman may or may not have been a homosexual. And
Mm-hmm.
because of that label,
Mm-hmm.
he was not buried in Arlington. He was not
Mm-hmm.
given a Medal of Freedom. He was not honored for what he did. He was a Marine that saved another human's life. That
Yeah.
should have been the end of the story.
Yeah.
But they marred that whole story and erased him from history. So
Mm-hmm.
thankfully, this play was written of this historical moment that needed to be told, and they
Mm-hmm.
used his voice at the very end of the play from his press
Mm-hmm.
conference, where he highlighted that he was just wanting to be known as a human,
Yeah.
not anything else. And it was so powerful.
Yeah. 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 I I could just sit here and listen to you.
I could talk for sure. I could talk. I really grew up through Toastmasters, and I absolutely loved that for public speaking,
Yeah.
and became a regional director for Toastmasters, and actually
Oh.
planned the conference here several years ago. So that was kind of my launch into these
Mm-hmm.
membership nonprofits, but
Mm-hmm.
starting with Toastmasters and just getting those speaking abilities really
Mm-hmm.
helps people to listen to you better, right? So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you're having an easier time talking to someone, and they're judging you less because
Mm-hmm.
you're well spoken. And I
Yeah.
would recommend Toastmasters to everybody.
Yeah. I've considered Toastmasters, I don't know, so many times in my life, and I just never like had the capacity or just like, oh my gosh, Leslie, just
Almost
yeah.
every president has been through Toastmasters. Obviously, not the current one, but
Or
almost every president has graduated through
yeah.
Toastmasters and been
Yeah.
an amazing orator.
Well, that's a fun fact. That's a fun fact.
Toastmasters been around for a long time.
Long time. Yeah. I remember
It's
hearing about
it's
it
like
like
it's
at
like the
least 10
Girl
years ago.
Scouts for public speaking,
Yeah.
right? You just go
Yep.
through and you get your little badges and your little badges and you keep going, and it's really exciting.
That's pretty cool. I might check it out. I might check
Check
it
it out. Check it out.
out. So more natural helpers. Tell us about that. Because I know it's in your bio, but I would love to hear, what it is, the impact, the vision with young people.
Of course, Natural Helpers has been around a long time. I'm
Okay.
trying to revive it, and there's a small group of us that is doing that and has
Mhm.
already done that. I will tell you, Natural Helpers is a peer coping retreat, if I could say it that
Okay.
way. You go into a high school setting, you ask the kids, who are your top three friends that you talk to when you have a problem, a serious problem? Who are your top
Mhm.
three adults you talk to? And what are your top three problems right now? You take that information from each grade, and
Mhm.
whoever rises to the top, most of the friends are talking to these 10 people from freshman,
Mm,
10 people from sophomore, and you take them off campus to a 2-day retreat. You teach them boundaries, you teach
mhm.
them um, what is self-care, you
Yeah.
teach them empathy, listening skills, and you teach them resources for all
Mhm.
kinds of things, right? Like mental abuse, physical abuse, suicide, things like
Mhm.
that. Where are the resources for my friends? And then
Mhm.
you infuse them back into the system. And this is what I had to explain to some of the schools that we were piloting or going to pilot with. They wanted to give them all t-shirts that said natural helpers, and I said absolutely not. That is not the point of this. They are going to go
Mhm.
right back into their friend groups, go right back into their little nuclei, and they are going to be better equipped. Not many
Mhm.
counselors, but better equipped to listen and help their friends and
Mhm.
know where that line is when they need
Mhm.
to, include an adult and provide those resources that those kids need. So I'll tell you, Natural Helpers was made in Washington State, I think 1979. I was a natural helper in high school in Washington State, and that was my first experience with it. And the bus drivers will tell you these kids that get on that bus on Friday are not the same kids Sunday. And their parents will tell you the same thing. My kid came home and asked to do the dishes and wanted to talk to me and didn't go straight to their room. And like their parents, like, what happened? What did
What
you
did you do to
do?
my kid?
So what happens to these children is that they realize that they are not the center of the universe, that their problems are not the worst problems in the world, that there are people that have it worse and have it better than them, and that they can help. I think that is the biggest thing, is that their hearts open and they realize I can help and I
Mhm.
can use my tools to help.
Mhm.
So it's a program that gives people tools basically, but if this is still happening, I actually, one of my partners in Natural Helpers trying to relaunch here in Indianapolis was able to go to Valparaiso and attend
Mhm.
the Natural Helpers retreat. And they
Mhm.
do it a tiny bit different, but every year they'll tell you in Valparaiso, those kids that go through that program want to come back and help the next people.
I love it.
So what you end up with is 40 kids every single year building this culture of helpers.
Mhm.
So Natural Helpers is free for anybody right now because Discovery purchased it and they sat on it because they couldn't make money. And so
Mhm.
now it's in the public domain for anybody. So I was
Mhm.
able to talk to a gentleman that is still at the forefront of this, that has been doing this for 20 years in Long Island. He sent me one of the two remaining kits in the country, the original kits. And so we were planning to do a retreat with one of the schools here in Indianapolis. And at the very last minute, they said they didn't have the money.
Mhm.
We were already down to planning. I explained it all. I said, we're going to do this. I'm going to be a facilitator. I've got 5 other facilitators. We're going to make this retreat happen.
Mhm.
And they were all the way down the path and they couldn't afford it. And I
Mhm.
just felt so bad for those children. So, one of my whys for opening the Sports Bra is to have money to relaunch that program. They've
Mhm.
already upgraded the program, they've already digitized it. It's still happening in the East Coast, but it's pockets here and there. So
Right.
what I want to say, Leslie, is that I cannot imagine the world that we would be in today if Discovery or someone else had kept that program alive
Yeah.
and we had helpers today. Because what happens to these kids that go through Natural Helpers is that they become therapists, they become
Mhm.
nurses, they become
Mhm.
teachers. They
Mhm.
realize that they can be a helper for the rest of their lives. And it's powerful. And I am just disappointed that this is not in every single school across the
Mhm.
country. So
Mhm.
that's a big passion of mine. And this was, I think, 2 or 3 years ago that we really, really, really tried to get Natural Helpers to come to Indianapolis.
Mhm.
And so that is still a major goal of mine. I am so passionate about the youth and the coping curriculum that is missing in our schools. I know some schools are peppering in meditation and mindfulness here or there, but they need resources and they need helpers, and their friends can be those helpers. And I
Right.
think that's what's so powerful about this program. And so I'm excited to still be a part of that group with Anthony Pantalone, or Pantalone, and he is in again Long Island, retired psychologist. He still emails all of us. He helped to digitize this program. It is on a New York school website. Anybody can get a hold of it. Like I said, I just want it to be spread everywhere. So that's really my number one mission, is to help the kids. And part of the Sports Bra is doing this for the girls that are suffering right now with cyberbullying and body standards and beauty standards, and
Oh,
the
yeah.
same thing that you and I fought, but it's like
Mhm.
notched up 1,000,
It's
right?
heightened. Oh yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
it's these anonymous people that are commenting on your
Yeah, we
picture.
didn't have social media. Yeah, we
Oh
didn't
my
have that.
gosh. Yeah, social
Mhm.
media is just not helping the situation,
Mhm.
especially for coping. But I don't want anybody to leave this planet because their boyfriend broke up with them, right? That is just not, there is so much more to life than that
Mhm.
guy that doesn't want you, right? So I think
Absolutely.
that's the story that we have to tell these girls. There's more out there for you, and you can go get it.
Mhm. Well, I hope everyone now understands who the woman is behind the Sports Bra Indy, because you are so much more than the Sports Bar Indy. Yes, it's going to bring revenue and community, but just the person behind the restaurant, is just magnificent. And I am so blessed that you said yes. Um, to coming on the Coach's Kitchen. And just a couple of things as we wrap up. For women listening, they have a dream that others don't quite understand. What would you say to encourage them in this moment?
I think keep moving, do the next right step, right? Like 1% the next day. I always tell people little hinges swing big doors.
Mm,
Be a little hinge in
mm,
your own life and just keep moving. Don't listen to anybody. I told people this a long time ago, but what other people think of you is none of your business. You need to think of you and love you more
mm,
than anybody else. No one is going to love you more than you love yourself. So wake up every morning loving yourself and making decisions for yourself and your
mm.
family.
Love it. And then 5 years from now, what do you hope people will say about the impact of the sports bra indie?
I hope we're impacting the community just like the Sports Bra in Portland, right?
Mhm.
They are in touch with every team there in Portland. They're helping to launch teams. They're helping to support and lift up women in film. I think just having that same impact. I named my company, my corporation, Magic Peacock Impact, because I want
Mhm.
that impact to happen here. I think in 5 years, it's really hard to say where the trajectory is, but I have a 10-year franchise agreement with 2 5-year options. I'm hoping to hang on for the whole 20 years in this same spot with the community's help. And that's all. I just need people to show up, feel the amazing vibes that are in this
Mhm.
place where you belong. You can see yourself on this TV. You can cheer on women, give them visibility. We've only had 5% of women's sports on television. It's now 15%. I
Mhm.
want that to continue growing. I want to continue supporting every single sport out there and let the little girls know that they can do this and they can be on that TV someday.
That's it. That's it. Complete this sentence for me. Changing the game for women means.
Means hope. I think
Mhm.
everybody is looking for hope right now, especially the young girls. And I love even how the young boys are showing up for Caitlin Clark and buying their
Mhm.
jersey and their shoes. So changing the game is hope for the future. We've got to have a brighter light at the end of this.
Yeah. So how can our community support the Sports Bra Indie? What do you need from us?
I think follow our pages, stay plugged in, the Sports Bra Indy on all the socials, the sportsbraofficial.com. If you like newsletters, you can choose the Indianapolis newsletter. We do not bombard people. It's all permission opt-in. We send like one newsletter a month, but that's going to, excuse me, have all of our watch parties. Like I said,
Mhm.
we have at least 3 or 4 watch parties every month. We're maintaining the momentum. Please come and show up and show out at all of those things. Come meet me, come get a shirt. We made this fever flavored shirt just,
It's so cute.
yeah. And I actually have some special ones. This is a treat for your audience, but we just ordered lesbian logo shirts for Pride Month. And so that is coming. And I know several people will buy that out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, do you have any final words before we
I'm
say
just
good
honored.
night?
I'm so grateful. I started a gratefulness journey in 2014 and it has changed my life. So I am just always, always, always grateful for who I meet and the energy I bring and the energy that comes back to me. I think that's the biggest thing for me is new experiences and new ways to change the game with other folks.
Well, I am grateful. Again, I am grateful for you saying yes. This has been a powerful conversation. And I just love that you just reminded us that changing the game is not always about being in the spotlight, right? It's not always about that. It's about being behind the scenes and being in the community and helping other people and having enough courage to move, having the delusional audacity
Right.
that
That's
yeah.
right. But whenever I'm given the mic, I always want to share that power and privilege with everybody I'm around. And
Mhm.
we need to get more messaging out. And some people don't get that opportunity. So
Yeah.
I'm happy to share the mic with whoever and share their story and get the highlight on women and girls.
Yeah. Well, thank you for building our community. Thank you for believing in belonging, so that way our women and girls can truly be seen, felt, and heard, celebrated, invested in.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
I want the girls to show up in that restaurant and never think about this not existing before,
Mhm.
right? This is just a normal thing that America has all the
Yep.
time, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's the hope right now.
Well, thank you for being willing to go first and bring this to Indianapolis.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for having me, and this has been such a great conversation. Keep doing some great work.
Thank you so much, Eve. And thank you so much to all of you for joining us on the Coach's Kitchen. I hope this conversation reminded you that changing the game doesn't always require having all the answers. It's just a step. It's just saying yes to the vision, trusting what you can't see, and being willing to build what you wish existed. So, a huge thank you to you, Eve, for sharing your story, your heart, your vision behind the Sports Bra Indy. I can't wait to come and watch all the things. But if this episode resonated with you, share it. Make sure you follow Eve's journey and support the Sports Bra Indy as they continue changing the game for women right here in Indianapolis and beyond. And if this if this conversation inspired you, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with a woman who needs a reminder that her dreams are not too big and that she doesn't need permission to pursue them.
That's
Stay
right.
grounded, y'all. Stay growing. Keep building boldly. And remember, friends, breakthrough, it's always on the burner. Until next time, we'll see you on the Coach's Kitchen.